Of This Is No Plan B. And here we have Matrasa Ferguson of 1111 Bookkeeping. She is a bookkeeper and money coach. She was born and raised in Las Vegas, but currently finds herself coming home of Phoenix, Arizona. She's currently in Sedona while we're recording right now on a little trip. So I definitely hear a little bit about that. But Matrasa, thank you so much for joining us, for coming on. I love bookkeeping. I love money. Who doesn't love money? So to be able to chat a lot about what you feel are your five pillar framework for your finances, talking about upcoming training that she has that is completely free on December 16th, and all of the things that led her into 1111 bookkeeping. Could you share a little bit more about 1111 and bookkeeping, the meaning behind it, and some of the services that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about this. So again, my name is Matrasa. And so I'm the owner of 1111 Bookkeeping. And the purpose of the name 1111 is first to draw in the person that understands the meaning of 1111. So 1111 is it's a master number. It's an angel number. It basically is it's I would say that it represents like manifestation, balance, abundance, opportunities, and it's just like a perfectly balanced number. And I thought it just went perfectly as the title of a bookkeeping business. And so that's also I blend in the holistic and spiritual aspects as well with my business, because money is not just an intellectual activity. It also affects us on the mind, body, and spiritual level. So I definitely like to hone in on those aspects and help my clients with that.
And when it comes to some of the services that you offer, you have bookkeeping and like being a money coach. Can you tell us about the differences between the two?
Absolutely. So yeah, bookkeeping would just be you know managing your income and expenses in an accounting software, giving you your reports, doing all the reconciliations, setting up your chart of accounts. And I also include advisory with that. So it's not just, giving you your numbers and that's that. I also like to go over with you. I like going over your goals for your business, for your financial life in general. And I also like, creating with my clients as well, like creating new income streams, creating new plans for the business. So I definitely enjoyed that part of it, probably the most actually. Um, and then for money coaching, that's where we get into more like more of your relationship with money, how you actually interact with money, how you are managing it, how you are, we can go into setting up a debt repayment plan, or just managing your debt, setting up your budget, setting up all your automation for your automatic bank transfers. What else? And yeah, setting up all your allocations. Basically, anything with like just setting up your whole system for managing your money and creating that financial foundation.
And when we talk about a financial foundation, I know that you have this upcoming free seminar, you have a free workshop. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and what went into you planning this on December 16th?
Yes, so it's called Money Foundations, and I'm kind of treating it like basically like a 101 course. It's like a 101 into money and money management. And so this is designed for the person who just really doesn't even know where to start with managing their finances, getting into building that framework for financial literacy. I know that, yeah, a lot of people who come to me, they're just in a complete mess and they don't know where to start. And so that's how they end up hiring somebody like me. And so this class is meant to start you off by, at least get building a really good framework so that you can just manage your day-to-day finances in a balanced way. And then, once you build and scale, then when you decide to hire a bookkeeper or hire someone to manage your finances, you're not just letting them walk into a giant mess. They're actually just helping you maintain and build that.
And when it comes to some of the framework that you're going to be teaching, I know that you mentioned before that you kind of see five pillars of finances. Can you share some of those with us today?
Yeah, so this is just everything that I've learned, all the books and stuff that I've read. This is what I've gathered. I've, kind of made the five pillars of finances. So it would be your income, your expenses, savings, investments, and then contributions. And these all tie into each other. Of course, income would be like the most important one because you can't manage any money without income coming in. And then, of course, the expenses is the biggest thing where people trip up the most, especially when we live in this consumer society and um, it's easy to just impulse buy, overspend. I'm definitely guilty of this. Like this is definitely something I need to work on. But um, this is like a one like I would say the biggest thing people get stuck on is managing their expenses. Which sometimes it's not like sometimes it has to do with cutting down the expenses, but it also has to do with like just making more money to cover that because there's only so much you can cut down on your expenses. But if you also just want to have like a certain lifestyle, then you have to have more income, right? So we go into that, and then the next thing would be your savings, of course. So that would be like your reserves for whatever. So this is really important to have, and this is something that most Americans don't have. So like I don't know what the percentage is, but I know that it's a crazy amount of Americans have no savings whatsoever, and um and so yeah, like that's one thing that people tend to get stuck on as well because they think, oh, like if I'm in debt, I can't save or I can't invest. And that's one thing I'm going to go into in Money Foundations is how all these pillars, like you can do all of it. Like you don't have to just focus on one. You could be making any income level and be hitting all of these pillars. It just, that's why you have to measure it and figure out, okay, what are my actual goals so that I can hit these marks. So like, I start like I have debt and I still have savings coming out. I have a direct deposit going into like a completely separate bank account that I don't really have access to. It's like 10% of my paycheck goes in there automatically. And then I'm able to, pay the rest of my bills and whatnot. And it's kind of like, I kind of call it my tithing. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with tithing at all, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's basically you're setting that side amount just for, the future or for whatever. You can have like a fun name for your savings. Like, you don't have to call it emergency savings. You can call it,
Yeah.
the abundance account. You can call it the fun money. You can call it fun coupons, whatever you want to do. Um, but yeah, so and then that's savings. And then we go into investing, which some people don't even like, bother with that at all. That's just like, some people are like, oh, that's so beyond me. I don't make enough to even invest at all. Some people are
Yeah.
like under this conception, like, they have to have a brokerage account and be, have to have like a six-figure portfolio before they can even like invest. And that's not the case at all. I mean, you have apps like Robinhood, you can literally invest like $5 a day. It's not, I mean, you shouldn't just invest blindly. You definitely should
Yeah.
do some research on that. But like again, you can hit that pillar without even very much money at all. So and that's the thing is like that pillar is that's your future money, right? So like I think part of it is a lot of people are not future minded, and so they just don't consider investing to be worthwhile. And then the final one will be your contributions. And so your contributions will be, you're giving to charity or just giving yeah, donations or maybe sponsoring businesses, like any sort of thing where you are letting that overflow go into the world. And again, like you don't even have to be rich to give. There's lots of people who don't make very much money and they're very giving. So they make sure like to hit that contribution pillar. And people don't obviously they don't do this consciously, but like people who have, you can have a very good financial framework and not be making a ton of money. Some people make a very modest living and they have this financial framework down just because they have that balance. And so that's what we get into is it's just creating that balance and knowing where to start based on where you are at in your financial reality.
Ooh, and I love something that you mentioned too of debt. And I think that can be one of the scariest things. And everyone carries some form of it legitimately. It is
Hmm.
so extremely common, and there's so many different kinds of debt. And one interesting statistic that I was reading, I think it was just yesterday, on some articles was how Black Friday sales weren't as bad as some had projected, that it was like, it was a decent number of people that did participate in Black Friday sales, but the most interesting number was how high the percentage was of those that utilized pay later, buy
Hmm.
now, pay later payment plans, installment plans, all of those kind of services, which are fairly new, and not all now becoming more widely used. But I thought that was so interesting how many people in the finance sector kind of predicted that they weren't sure how this Black Friday was going to go, but that they think that a lot of Americans are doing what they now call doom spending, that
Hmm.
they're not sure what's going on. They don't really know what next year's going to look like, but they have some the limit on their credit card is at a good enough number where
YOLO.
they are spending. And I think that that can happen a lot in entrepreneurship too, where you only look at your income and you don't look at any of those other numbers,
Hmm.
and you spend. You spend because, well, I'm making it, well, I have it. And then the end of the year comes, tax contributions come, a lot of things come, and you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't have it. And I did bring in the income that I wanted, but then I didn't adjust to view the lifestyle that I should have been living in order
Hmm.
to live within my means, to live within my income. And I know that you had mentioned prior that there is a masculine and a feminine, and especially in the work that you do in a holistic and spiritual space, teaching people how to actually keep their money. Can you talk
Hmm.
a little bit more about the masculine and the feminine and what you see?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of people tend to focus on the masculine. That's what's most prevalent is that's the actual action, that's the actual organizing of the money and the money coming into your physical reality. Whereas the feminine is that's more of the internal world, right? That would be like the feelings around the money, the emotions around it. That would be the belief around the money. And so that's the biggest thing is people are not assessing their own beliefs around money, and don't realize that they have blocks around money until, say, they come into a large income amount, and then, they realize, oh, wait, like this money doesn't feel safe with me. I think that's a big thing is like, you know, especially for me, sometimes I'll have, a large amount. I'm like, oh, like, what should I do with this money? And
Yeah,
then
I can't handle this. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
then it's just gone. And so like you can be making six figures and still live paycheck to paycheck if you don't know how to hold this money because it's not going to feel safe with you. It's going to feel like money is just burning a hole in your pocket if you don't know how to not only know how to manage it on the masculine level, but also, believing that you're worthy of just having it and being able to, also understand the foundations, the five pillars and being able to see where you can put that in your financial reality to, basically, you're creating your life. That's what money is for. It's just creating your life. And so I think people forget what the purpose of money is. So that is part of it, and so yeah, it's definitely that's the biggest thing I think is what people struggle with, especially like you see celebrities like the multimillionaire they go bankrupt. Like how is that even possible? It's because they haven't done that work. So yeah, like
Yes.
it's definitely important to hit both sides. So and I think also where 1111 comes in is the balance of that, the balance of the
Yes.
masculine and the feminine.
Yes, and I love that you said that because I think that word is becoming more and more prevalent for business owners is balance and harmony and how the two can coexist and that you can't have one without the other because I get to meet so many people and I love to get to know people very well and not just on a surface level. And I see it from both sides. I see those that have so much of the feminine where they feel they're worth it, they know, they believe they believe all the right things,
But they
but then
can't manage it.
they can't manage it or they can't seem to bring it in because
Mhm.
their offer isn't aligned, or a lot of the masculine behind what the offer looks like, how to deliver it
Like it has to
is
be realistic.
poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, I'm going to price this at this number because this is what makes sense to me and I'm
because
worth
I'm
this.
worthy of it.
Yeah. And it's like, that's great, but that's not what's on the market whatsoever. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't,
Right.
like
You
we need
got
a
to
little bit
hit
of both.
both. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you have those that have an offer that makes complete sense, rinse and repeat. They have everything down. They're analytical, right? Like they have it down. And then they don't believe they're worthy. And they end up going bending over backwards for almost every single client and making only a fraction of what they could make because in their head, they're like, no, 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 this is what I deserve. Okay, but you're worth more and you can charge more and you can be more and do more with this. So I
Right.
always find it so interesting how the two interconnect.
Right. Or they believe they're not worthy of it unless they work their ass off for it.
Yes,
So,
and get another
yeah.
degree and another certification and another, I need to justify it. Anything that I charge more for needs to be directly justified to new equipment or new software or new training. And it's just I think the freedom to know that this can be whatever you want it to be. Life can be whatever you want it to be. You can make however much you'd like to make. We live in the United States, right? Like we can do a lot of what we want to do, but you have to make sure that you at least talk to someone about it and you talk through it because
Hmm.
talking through something as intimate, even as why you're priced the way that you are, can get the barriers up and the walls up. Let's look through your bank statements, get the barriers up and the walls up. And how did it feel? I know that on our live, you mentioned a client who was so nervous to even share the bank statements with you.
Hmm.
How does that journey look like of a client trusting you and opening up to you about their financial situation? And then where does it end up bringing them?
It just depends on, of course, my relationship with the person as well. If they're just coming in as like a referral or as a newbie, it also just depends on, yeah, it all depends on the mindset, right?
Mhm.
Like some people are just like, please, like, here's my statements, like, just do my thing. And then some people, it takes a little bit of like, they have to realize, oh, wait, okay, she needs this to do the job and she needs to do the job because it needs to be done because I need the thing. So, um, yeah, I can't exactly explain her thought process behind finally, being able to give me her bank statements, but I just know that, it's very vulnerable when you are not, taking care of what you need to take care of, and then you're showing someone else that. Like I said, it's like showing someone your dirty laundry,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Or that one room in your house that everything just gets shoved in.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people's finances are like, and you have all these different transactions across different bank accounts, and it's just like, and I think a lot of it is people maybe feel ashamed just because they're like, well, I'm a business owner, like I should
Yeah.
know better. But like, I mean, I don't even think they teach this stuff in business school. Like my first client, she had an MBA and her finances were a mess. So it doesn't matter, like
Yes.
I don't think this stuff is taught. And so I'm not sure. I never went to business school, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think it's just yeah, and I think that's also part of why like I want to get into the money coaching as well, so that people can be able to talk through what they really struggle with and what's really just blocking them from getting to the next level, or where they can actually like it's just like a blind spot, right? They just don't know what they need to work on. They can't conceptualize what needs to change in their finances until someone else can take a look and be like, oh, there's this, here's how I
Yeah.
can help you.
Yeah. And I know that we are almost at time here. So I just want to wrap up. Can you let everyone know where they can find you on socials and your website URL so they can follow up with you? And the ways to follow up with the beautiful Matrasa is go ahead and sign up for her December 16th free Money Foundations class that she's hosting. And also, she has a 15-minute bookkeeping audit. She has a coffee chat. She has a podcast. She's very approachable in terms of bookkeepers, right? Which are normally very, very guarded. So take the advantage when she shares her stuff. Go follow her. Go to her website, but go ahead and share that URL and how they can follow you. What social channels?
Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram mainly, so you can follow me at 1111 bookkeeping. So that's 11 period 11 bookkeeping. And then my URL for my website is just 1111bookkeeping.com with no periods. And you'll find like my stuff there as well. But my link tree, that's where like all my links for my podcast, and that's where you'll find the money foundations. It's also on my website as well. So yeah, you can go there and find all my stuff.
Yay. Thank you so much, Matresa. Thank you for joining
Thank
us. Is there
you.
anyone, any little words of wisdom or words of motivation you want to give to someone who's like, oh, 2023 was hard, Matresa. Like, just, I don't know what to do. Any like words of aspiration you could share with them?
I could just say you're probably doing a lot better than you think you are. So give yourself some grace and some credit.
Aw,